The practice that I want to share today is called resource installation. It comes from Laurel Parnell's attachment-focused EMDR, but it's basically something that you can do probably when you're in a relatively quiet space, and you have your own alone time. But later you can adapt it to multiple environments. So the way it's structured is basically you're invited to think of different figures in your life and a safe place, and we're going to do something called install them into our somatic being. It's called resource installation, and it uses a specific technique that's characteristic of EMDR, which is bilateral stimulation. So first, there's multiple parts to it, but let's just talk about the bilateral stimulation parts. The bilateral stimulation, the idea behind it is we're trying to get some of those stuck, fragmented aspects of neurophysiology to start to reintegrate, and so we're trying to stimulate both sides of both hemispheres of the brain. And some of the classic bilateral stimulation choices are something called the butterfly hug. Okay, so the butterfly hug is holding your arms across your chest, so crossing your arms in front of your chest, where one hand is approximately touching one shoulder and the other hand is on the other shoulder. And the way the butterfly hug works is we just tap left, right with each hand, like in a kind of a 1, 2, left, right, left, right, left, right pace. Okay, so that's a classic butterfly hug option. And that's one version of bilateral stimulation. We'll use that in a moment. The other option that you might have, especially if you're at a work environment or a place where you can't be as visible with a butterfly hug, is to tap left, right with your hands. I'm exaggerating it for those of you who can see me visually. What I'm doing is I am patting my legs left and right with my left hand and then my right hand. And you can do it in a large way or a small way where you're just like using placing your hands basically on your legs and then tapping your legs left and right. And that's another version of bilateral stimulation. Okay. The last classic version of bilateral stimulation, if you need to be on the DL, is just tapping your toes left and right. So left toe, like typically heels on the ground, and then left toe, right toe, left toe, right toe, left toe, right toe. Just tapping so you can feel the ground underneath you. Okay, so that's the bilateral stimulation part. So multi-part exercise, but so that is thought to help, create that communicative channel across the corpus callosum and help whatever might be stuck, fragmented in one hemisphere to cross over to the other. Okay. Now, the other piece of this is thinking of a protective figure, a nurturing figure, a wise figure, and a safe place, right? And so in a moment, I'm going to invite you, the listener or the viewer, to think of somebody who is a protective figure for you, somebody who's a nurturing figure for you, somebody who's a wise figure for you, and a safe place. And after we kind of get a hold of each of these, we're going to do what we call install these resources into our body, right? Through this, basically, a bilateral stimulation tapping practice, right? So we don't just visualize them, we somatically experience them, like almost like we're tapping them into ourselves with our full sensation. Okay, so that's the crux of the exercise. I'll talk you through it. I know that was a big lead up, and maybe that's the instructional explanation, and maybe you'll listen to this part of the practice and just have that steady, and then there'll be the guided part where you can listen to, this part and maybe skip to this part whenever you want to just do the practice. Okay. All right. So with all that preparatory, we'll go ahead and begin. All right. So first, just let yourself settle into a place of relative comfort. If you're sitting, just feel the chair underneath you or the ground underneath you. Some people prefer to do this lying down. Whatever feels good for you. If you want, your eyes can be open. If you prefer, they can be closed. And I'm going to guide you through the practice called resource installation. Okay? So, in this first part of this practice, I'm going to invite you to think of somebody. They could be real or imaginary, living or not here anymore. But just imagine somebody who has been a protective figure for you in your life. Right? This is somebody who might defend you, might stand up for you, around whom you feel safe, who you could go to for support. Right? So, who might that be? Right? So, think of somebody in your life, perhaps real or imaginary, who represents protectiveness, support, safety for you. For some people, this can be its own challenging aspect, especially if we haven't felt protected in our lives. So in that case, sometimes I just imagine that you might think about you, right, as an ally of yourself, or maybe a version of you that is strong or protective or kind. Right? So just, you could even borrow me if you like. I would be very happy to stand in and stand by you if I could. Right? So just think of a protective figure that you might have in your life. And we're going to do something called bilateral stimulation. So that's kind of a butterfly hug, or tapping your legs or tapping your toes in just a moment. But first I want you to just visualize that person. Just see them in your mind's eye. Okay? What do they look like? What do they sound like? What is their voice? Right. Where are they in the space with you, in front of you, to the side? And see if you can use all of your sensory experiences. Maybe there's even a certain smell, or maybe there's a flavor of being with them that you can just even almost taste, right? So what is it like to see them, hear them, feel their presence with you? Okay? And once you get a sense of that, I'm going to invite you to do one of these things that we've mentioned. You get to choose a butterfly hug, leg tapping or toe tapping, and just install their presence into your being, anchoring what it feels like to be with them inside you. So we'll just tap left, right, in a cadence, a steady cadence. With each tap, just feeling them with you, almost more and more embedded into your felt experience, into your body. And just seeing them, and then feeling them, and then sensing them, almost getting tapped into you, right? Sometimes this is called resource tapping. You're letting their protective presence land inside you. Land inside you. Okay. Yeah. And you typically do that for maybe 20 seconds or so, right? And then when you feel that kind of taking hold, I'm going to invite you to let that go for a moment and now install or imagine. We're going to imagine a nurturing figure. This is somebody who you could go to for love, emotional care, whenever you might have had some emotional challenge. They would be there to nurture you, support you, love you, give you emotional care, help you feel loved, right? So who might you imagine? It could be a real person. It could be an imaginary person. It could be you, your own highest self, right? Sometimes it could be a spiritual presence, right? A dear friend. So who represents care, love, nurturance for you? Right? Somebody who helps you feel loved. Yeah. And as you settle on a person, go ahead and let yourself imagine them, visualize them. What do they look like? What do they sound like? What are they wearing? How does it feel to be with them? Right? And where are you? Right? Where are they in relation to you? Are they in front of you, to your left or right? Are they sitting next to you? Are they behind you? Right? And just sense their presence and being if you can. And as you sense them, let's go ahead and next do the resource installation. So this is installing their presence and being, right? So just choosing your mode of bilateral stimulation, just letting yourself tap left and right, and with each tap almost allowing their love, their nurturance being felt more deeply penetrating into your body and your being. Can you let yourself feel their love, their support, their care, their nurturance land inside you? Just with each tap, just imagining that this support, this resource is getting embedded deeper and deeper inside you. Yeah. Yeah. And just letting yourself drink that in with each breath, anchoring that presence and that being more and more. Okay. And then slowly letting that go, right? Knowing that you can come back to it anytime you want. Right? And next we're going to invite a wise figure. This might be somebody who you might view as a mentor, a guide, who has wisdom, insight, intelligence, who can cut through things that are confusing, who can see things clearly, and can give you that perspective, that insight, that depth of knowing, and that wisdom. Okay. And so, who in your life, could be real, it could be imaginary, represents a wise figure for you? So just choose somebody to come forward, something, maybe someone or something, to represent wisdom, a wise figure for you, and just take a moment to notice that figure. What do they look like? What do they sound like? What's the quality of their voice? What are they wearing? Where are they in relation to you, in front of you, to your left or right? Are they standing or sitting? And what does it feel like just to be with them, knowing that they see things clearly, that they have insight, they have wisdom, they understand, right? And as you see them, hear them, feel their presence, let's go ahead and allow yourself to do your bilateral stimulation again. So go ahead and choose your bilateral stimulation method of choice, butterfly hug, tapping your legs or tapping your toes, and just let yourself tap left and right, left and right. Just letting yourself, with each tap, let their presence and being land deeper and deeper into you, allowing their wisdom to interpenetrate into your being, flowing into you, feeling it with each tap. More and more, just letting their wisdom pour into you. Yeah. Yeah. And then just allowing that to slowly fade. And last but not least, we're going to imagine a safe place. So what is a safe place for you? A place where you have maybe felt at peace in the world, protected, loved, clear, a place of refuge where you don't need to do anything. You can just be exactly as you are. For some people, this is in nature. For some people, maybe a particular room in their house, maybe a particular couch, maybe a particular place where you visited sometimes. So, where is a safe place for you? And again, just, it can be real, it can be imaginary, but just see it. What are the colors? What are the shapes? What are the sounds that you hear? Maybe, what do you feel as you're in this place? And as you sense yourself in this safe place, go ahead and one last time we're going to do the bilateral stimulation, just letting yourself tap left and right, whether with the butterfly hug, tapping on your knees or tapping your toes, right? And with each tap, just allowing your presence and being to be permeated by the safe place that you've been imagining. Just letting the sounds enter you, the sights enter you, almost letting them land inside your felt experience, anchoring the visual and the sounds into your felt experience of the body, just tapping this resource of the safe place into you. Okay. And then slowly just allowing yourself to let that go. Knowing that you can return to any of these places. The safe place, the presence of the wise figure, the protective figure, or the nurturing figure anytime you want. And sometimes doing the physical action of the bilateral stimulation can be a valuable anchor to re-evoke this feeling that might be arising in you right now of relative safety, of being protected, of being nurtured, and being graced with wisdom. Thank you so much for your practice. Blessings.